Well, hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me in my shop here. Today it's September 18th, another beautiful day here, and I feel terrible because I know there are so many people suffering all around the world from terrible weather, and we just are having fantastic weather here. So, hey, nothing on my bench. My plan today is to get this receiver out of here and up onto my bench, ready for checking it out and working on it. And that's my plan. Very good. That's a good plan. Okay, first thing is some wires hooked up here. So this is the record player audio. And this is the power coming over to this connector. I can just just don't feel like they were tight at all. Okay, so that's the power cord done. Antenna connection here. And we got these two guys. So it says, do not remove this connector. Do not remove this connector. Why exactly am I not supposed to remove that connector? Do not wow. Why would that be? Can you not pull these right out? Okay, so this one's made so it can only go in one way. Okay. Do not pull this connector out. Wow, this is quite surprising at how darkened these pins are. Wow, there's may not be showing up so good in the camera, but these are badly corroded. Now, is that going to mean they're a bad connection? Not necessarily. So I'm looking to see if there's something about the pins that makes it so you can, yeah, I think there is. I think this one pin is in a slightly different position. I think it goes into this hole here. So we cannot put them in wrong. Why it said do not unplug it? I don't know. It could, operating stereo like this without its speakers connected, I just don't think it's that harmful. Maybe if you turn the volume way up, even then I just don't see that it's all that harmful, but maybe I'm just mistaken. So that's it. The wires are free. Get these out of the way enough. Now, there's just 4 hold down screws underneath here, which I am going to remove. I think 4 or 6. There are 4. And then we're gonna pull that out. Okay, got the 4 screws out. Should be loose. Wow, it still feels as solid as can be. Maybe it's stuck on these rubber pieces. Yeah. Wow. Gee. Let's see if that's enough. There we go. Passed. These, we've got a thing hanging here. I've got an antenna sticking up. If we slide it straight out, we'll be fine, but these cords are in the way for sliding it straight out. Slide it out and tip it up a little. I think I can get it out here. think I can do it. Okay. Woo, I got it. There we go. There we are. Okay, let's just take a look at it here. Don't see anything odd on the front at all. Just a little bit of corrosion, which is common in these radios. The words here have corroded away, and sometimes the metal stripping here gets corroded. I don't know why. It turns into a bluey green color, so I don't know, does that mean this color here is actually copper? It could be. Copper plated on, I don't know how they do it. See, this one over here is the same way. It's gone a little bit corroded, but otherwise the front looks pretty good. Okay, as usual, big transformer here. Looks like two large output transformers sitting here. Probably two output tubes here. It's a stereo unit, so it's bound to have two output tubes. Probably two driver tubes, or a single driver tube that's got two tubes in one, so to speak. Let's take a little bit of a closer look here. So I see the tubes are taped down. That's almost certainly original. These are almost certainly original tubes here. These two tubes, this is a 6BQ5, and I'll bet you the other one is, oh no, the other one's an EL84. So there's a good chance one of these two tubes was changed already. These are output tubes. You see they're taller, bigger, because they're hotter. They produce more heat. Why? Because they need to put through more current, more power to drive the speaker, and so they run hotter, and need to be bigger to dissipate the heat. These tubes will burn you instantly tubes. If they're on and hot, you touch them with your finger, you get burned. The other ones, you got a chance to pull your hand away, but not these output tubes. Very hot. So looks like all original tubes except for one output tube. Maybe both got changed. The 6BQ5 and this one's an EL84. It's the same tube electronically, just one made in Europe, one made in North America, and labeled, European label and North American label. So if we look down here, we can see the gearing system. I'm going to push the broadcast band button. Nothing happens. Now I'm going to push the FM button. There. You see that this piece moved? This piece probably moved in. We didn't quite see it. Let me go back to broadcast. Yeah, see it moving back and forth, and FM again. So literally the drive is being gear shifted from one string to another, from this string to this other string back here. Strings in these radios are, if you've ever worked on a string in a radio, you know how challenging they can be. These radios are monsters, and to try to restring. Some of it is string, some of it is wire. That's a wire there. Wire here. Yeah, so string's in great shape, and I don't plan to break it. Perfect. So restringing a radio like this is definitely scary. So I'm looking for capacitors up on top here. I really don't see any. There's a resistor here. There's a capacitor there. This is a reliable type of capacitor. This one, just a little one. You can't even see it hardly on the end of my finger here. Sometimes around the output tubes there's sets of capacitors. It looks like in this radio everything is underneath. Okay, so can we turn this right up on top of itself? I turn it right upside down. It would be sitting on this. And it would be sitting on this. This isn't the best thing to sit it on. But it's not bad actually. Oh, you can't see what I'm pointing at. I'm pointing at the broadcast antenna here is on a fairly rigid frame. And we can have it, if I flip this thing right over, it'd be sitting on this and sitting on that. And I've just noticed the top of this capacitor's got some material coming out of it. Not uncommon for old capacitor. I shouldn't have got it on my fingers. I have to go wash up. Don't know what it is. Something coming from inside the capacitor. So these big filter capacitors in metal cans, I find they seem to survive quite well, but they're not 100% by any means. So I didn't notice any kind of hum in this radio. If there was, this would be the part to deal with it. This is the this antenna switch. You can see a blue wire running back to the antenna terminal back here. This one. This. Over to where? Over to here, I think. Ultimately, got to go through a few parts though. Filtering parts, I guess. Here's the FM antenna lead going down to the FM tuning box. Where is it? Down here. You can see the flat twin lead going down. And then probably this blue wire is the AM antenna. Although, what's this switch for then? Well, there's only one terminal on the switch. How does that work? One terminal. The other appears to be going to the chassis. So what you're doing here is you're putting a short on an external antenna and leaving the loop antenna alone. I think that's what's going on. So this says, what it actually says on the front here is ferrite antenna on and off. So ferrite and off. Should really, from my thinking, that would be external antenna on and off. Ferrite antenna on and off. Well, we won't worry about it. This can get damaged very easily, but it looks fine. I don't think anybody's been fooling around with this radio at all. Magic eye up in here. Okay, nothing more to see up on top. Let's look underneath. I think I'm going to stand this up on its end with this transformer, heavy transformer down. So this is going to be standing tall here. Everybody step back, stand back. Give me some elbow space here. Oh, I see an old I see an unreliable type of capacitor already. Poking through a hole there. That was full of them. It's full of them. So my experience, and I'm not sure it's 100% valid, is these capacitors are very unreliable. Now, I could be wrong in that. These ones look good here. I mean, they physically look good. How many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You know, it's probably 20 in here. There's a couple more way up here. We've got, this is probably the rectifiers here. Got an electrolytic capacitor there. Another one up here. Again, the radios seem to work pretty okay. One of the main reasons I took it out was to clean up these switches. Wow, they're really hidden underneath this board. So the style of design that's used in these European radios is they put in this large switch piece. You can see it here. A big frame with all the mechanics for all these switches that they've got here. Loads and loads of switches. And then with all the switch terminals available, you can see them here, there are like dozens of switch terminals available. They can then mount the parts right on the switch terminals, like down in here. So it gives them a mounting location. And so that's the attraction of having these big panels of switches. And, I mean, the whole thing is a system, a design system, if you like, or a design approach. Very different from North American radios, where a switches like this would be simply switches, often not even mounted on the chassis. And okay. Yeah, switches like this, not mounted on the chassis. They're mounted into the cabinet, and just a separate switching thing. Sometimes coils on them because they're station selectors or something like that. These are tone control switches, and these are band selector or function selectors. These are tone control. Very cool. Tone controls. Well, I've seen it. I have seen it now. So lots of adjustments here for tuning the, this is the FM tuner box here. Adjustments for doing the tuning of the shortwave band and broadcast are all in here. You can see the blue paint on them here. The blue paint is to freeze them in place. So in the factory, after building the radio, they adjust these things to compensate for variations in each individual radio, and they get them all tuned up and paint them up, and they should never be touched again. But that's with the radio lasting 10-15 years. Now you're this far out into the future with it, there's a good chance these things need to be adjusted. Not necessarily, though. And okay, I'm gonna go pour my coffee and ponder what I've seen here. So if I'm going to run the radio in my shop here, I need to figure out how to connect some speakers to it. So here we have the power cord jack and the speaker jack here. When I look in the console cabinet, there's 3 wires heading to one set of speakers and 3 wires heading to another set of speakers. There's 2 pairs of speakers. There's also what appears to be a crossover circuit in the cabinet. I can see a big capacitor. Well, it's either a crossover, and the crossover circuit's receiving the entire signal from here and then splitting it for the 2 speakers, or it's just to restrict the sound that's going to one of those 2 speakers. They restrict the treble from the bass speaker, or restrict the bass signals from the mid-range or the smaller speaker. And the reason I'm hesitating about this is I was kind of anticipating only 3 wires here, or maybe 2 pairs of wires, a left and a right. But in fact, there's a lot more wires here. There's all kinds of them. So that presents a bit of a problem here. Why so many wires? So when I look at the cord coming out of the plug that goes on here, there are 6 wires in it. 3 one way, 3 the other way. We could assume that's a treble and a bass signal separated already on two separate wires, and that the crossover circuitry, or I guess that's what we would call it, crossover circuitry, is sitting back here somewhere. Then what's that's in the radio? Why does the cabinet need an apparent crossover circuit when it's getting a 3-wire feed? I got to look in the cabinet at what they've done with the speaker wires there. Okay, so you're looking at one of the two crossover circuits and one of the side speakers, the smaller speakers here. Let me just get myself down here too. Okay. So that's one speaker. That's the other one. A big, great big speaker. Excellent. And a couple wires going to that speaker. That's the red and the black. And a couple wires going here. That's also red and blue, it would look like. Now, interestingly enough, up on the top here, we have a red, a blue, and a black. That's the 3 wires coming from the cable here. Got exactly the same thing on the other side, except different colors. Sorry about the bad camera work. Okay, leaving the circuit is 4 wires. 3 coming in, 4 going out. What else is back here? Is there a big coil back here? Unfortunately, I can't see. Like the image I'm looking at is on a screen that's far away from me now. What's that say? 6 volt. I have the camera upside down now, so all my motions are backwards. I can't read it. Okay, I can't get anywhere like this. So you can see the 4 wires coming out. Turn this back over. So that's a little odd to me, what they're doing here. Huh. Gee, I wonder, can I find a circuit diagram for this guy? I think I did already, and it's in German. I think I did that early on. Well, let's take a close look through here. There's those capacitors that are questionable. Their quality is questionable. The way we'll handle this, I'll figure out a couple that probably should be replaced. I'll cut them out and test them to find out their condition. And they've got some better ones in here. I like this capacitor here. It's a much better one. Okay, keep looking around. This is the top of the switches, where I said they do a lot of circuitry, point-to-point circuitry work in here. Very typical of these European-styled radios with the big pile of push buttons out front. So this is the back of the speaker connector right here. Wow, I got to look at that for quite a while. And these wires all appear to have sleeves slid over them. But I don't know, it's unusual looking deal here. They're in this great big cable. Where are they coming from? Oh You know where they're coming from? They're coming from the output transformers. That's where they're coming from. Oh, that's an interesting question. Why so many wires coming from an output transformer? Looks like I can see two on the top. These are probably the input wires here. And then down on the bottom, there's 3 wires going into that transformer. Well, if it's, I was going to say, if it's push-pull, then these, no, it doesn't make sense. It's these wires that are hooked up to the speaker here. And I don't think it's push-pull. There's only 2 output tubes. Huh. Well, just going back to the speaker output here. Maybe I'm going to have to just do this by poking around or something. You know, turn the set on, get a little speaker, hook it up different ways on these wires until it works. That's a pretty clumsy way of doing it. A schematic might be helpful. A schematic might be helpful. Let's see what I can find. So here's the schematic we're going to be looking at. And unfortunately, I just spent 5 minutes talking about this and then realized the recording wasn't going properly. So unfortunately, I have to repeat myself, which I really don't like doing. But here's the 2 output tubes for the left channel and the right channel, and here's the output transformers. Now if you see on the primary side, there's just 2 wires, and I think they're showing the color blue and wrought. I don't know what that is, some other color. Just 2 wires on the primary side. On the secondary side, they show 3 wires coming out, which is weird. I noticed that they've written 3 ohms here and 5 ohms there. If we follow these over, they just go to different pins, 5 and 6. Now they were nice enough to show how the speakers are here, but what happened to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? I didn't write it here. It gives me the perfect opportunity to get this backwards. And then they've well, what is this? Don't exactly know what this is that they're showing here. Okay, let's not sweat over it. It'll come clear maybe. I just have to learn to read some more German here, I suppose. So let's see, the signal that gets into this speaker yeah, that's that's the end of my statement. The signal that gets into the speaker. It's a 30 and a 30 here. Why are these not drawn exactly the same? Why isn't this sitting out here somewhere? They've off the plus side is this speaker, off the plus side is this speaker. On the 2 different channels, left and right. This looks very much like it must be a ground here, this whole thing here. That's the Schwartz. Maybe Mr. Schwartz invented grounding or something. His name is preserved here. Well, what are what is this? Oh, there's a little inductor here. So the power that goes through the inductor You know, does it go to this speaker? Ay, 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 ay. This is just, you know, all these disconnected leads here. What's going on? The linker canal. Okay, this didn't help an awful lot, but we can look at this now. What are these two with the arrows? 220 volts. It's possible when you pull this plug out of the back of the radio, it automatically shuts off the B plus to the radio by interrupting it, and that's what this could be. So in behind, they aren't showing it here, this would be shorted. And so when you plug this in, you close this switch and you turn on to 220 volts, which is why it says do not remove this plug. Or it's too bad they do not remove this plug for this following reason. Now that would be a lot more helpful than just do not remove it. But that's probably what's going on. That's a common thing that's done in radios. So that's probably what's going on here. That means there's 220 volts sitting, waiting to be connected in the connector. The connector's in the cabinet. So I'd have to short this out, assuming that's what's going on. What else could be going on? Almost nothing. So that leaves now a ground, a left channel, and a right channel. Wouldn't that be the case? So we see these wires kind of come into this part of the circuit, and these wires kind of come into this part of the circuit. So rot, blue, green, and grün. Green. This must be green. That must be, I don't know. So we can get left and right channels. Now, this is the ground here, Mr. Schwartz, ground. So wouldn't this be like treble and bass? Because let's see, this one goes through the inductor, and guessing it goes out here. And this is the bass. And this one, oops, this one here, the blow goes down here, goes around, goes up through the speaker, and through the capacitor to get to ground. The capacitor allowing only the treble. So this got to be treble, and this got to be bass, and that's what's got to be coming out of here. Why isn't this capacitor in the set? Why is it out here? And what is all this stuff? What is all that stuff? Okay, I'm going to take a look back in the cabinet and see if we can, like, what is this supposed to be? My time is quickly running out this morning. So what are we looking at there? The thing that says BV204B is a coil. If you look close, you can see the copper turns in it. And the red thing, of course, is a capacitor, 30 microfarad capacitor, possibly a non-polar capacitor. Doesn't quite look like it, but and I was going to use my mouse, but you can't see my mouse. So to the right of the coil is that structure. Well, that's the plug. That's the plug going in. What plug? There's no plug. There's no plug down here. Yes, there is. Oh, okay, I think I finally figured out what's going on here. Yeah, suddenly it's all clear to me. There's a plug here for plugging in and more speakers. To the right is the antenna. I believe this is the antenna plug here. No, I'm wrong. No, the antenna's up on the receiver, Jim, not down here. Okay, so this is some kind of external speaker panel. Wait a minute. You know what? It's gonna say it. It's gonna say it on the back of the back. Not on this part of the back. Let's try another part. Okay, this is the part here. So there's the two openings. This one says hi-fi panorama speaker or stereo box, and over here is a loudspeaker, approximately 5 ohms. Well, those are the terminals I need to connect to. So hi-fi panorama speaker or stereo box. What they're talking about there, I think, is probably a speaker you would buy with this receiver, and in the box is a tweeter and a woofer, and so there's wires going over, and it's more complicated. This one over here appears to just be any old speaker, 5 ohms. Okay, well that makes everything really easy then. That makes it easy. Doesn't that make it easy? Does that make it easy? No, this does not make anything easy. What am I doing here? I'm losing my mind a bit. Maybe if I do this, I'll feel better. Yeah, I feel better now. I am losing my mind. So, big speaker cable goes in here. The cable runs over to the back of the cabinet, or inside the cabinet, and well, if I can sort out what wires come to these terminals here. Did I even show that properly just now? I don't know. If I can figure something out, then I'll have figured it out. That makes sense. Let's look back at that schematic some more here. Okay, so now we're looking at this. Realize this is a plug for more speakers. Now where's the other? Maybe right there. These two. But there's nothing showing connecting to them. Well, you... Come on. Well, let's see what is connected. I'm just going to put that camera back in the cabinet here. Now we're going to take another look and see if we can figure out what is actually connected to it. Okay, so I see the two connections there. It's between the coil and the capacitor there. One looks like it's a ground, and the other one appears to have I can see a little bit of green wire coming over. I wish I could show you on a mouse what I'm talking about, but I see a green wire coming over the top and down into that external speaker complicated plug. So how's this help? This is not helping at all. I'd have to sort the wires you see at the bottom there, the orange, the red, the black, and the blue, out. And figure out which ones of those, oh my gosh, oh man, I have to figure out which ones of those are going to the two-prong plug, and yeah, okay. Then, having figured that out, I would then have to look at the back here. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to stop at this point. I'm afraid my day is getting ahead of me here. And I'm going to be away for a couple of days, or I'm not going to be doing videos anyway for a couple of days. I'll be busy here. I'll be away from the shop for a couple of days. So next video, I'll have sorted out the speaker situation here, and we'll be able to operate this guy, and then sort them out from there. What has to be done? if anything. If anything has to be done. So thanks a lot for watching. Sorry not too much happened in this video, but you know, it is what it is. See you on the next one.